Okay, welcome and goodbye. Hello Krista, hello Spelunker. I don't know, I just took what the wiki said. Or not the wiki, but I looked through every time I like look for a thing to put in the stream thumbnail, I always look through like the forum section of the wiki of like people talking about the weapon or whatever and just take something from that. And someone said it's the best spear, and they also had 70 dexterity, so like I'm not taking that as gospel or whatever. But it is catchy for a stream thumbnail, right? So that's kind of why it's there. Hello Aora, welcome. It is a pointy stick, that's true. Hello Nikki. Got classes tomorrow? Yeah, that's unfortunate. But I hope you enjoy your time here while you are here. I feel like fears are misrepresented in video games quite frequently, just because their reach is absurdly long, so you have to balance them by making them weaker. But then, like, obviously in real life they're not weaker, and pole arms generally are just like stupidly powerful in real life compared to like most weapons, in terms of ease of use, especially. I holds a special place in your heart. I'll have to try that one soon as well. Oh, Afna, welcome. um, Hopefully you're not too overly tired being here. Yeah, exactly. Things ought to be balanced in real life. Hello, Jeterian. Welcome. Spears aren't the only victim here. Though I do question how they managed to nerf an entire person. That's pretty impressive. Who's they? Wait a second. Who's they? The powers that be. Alright. So the Partisan is another weapon that's just kind of like there and super easy to get. So like the S-Stock, just a little bit more out of the way slightly. So there's not going to be a ton of setup this run, but I do want to get the Great Shield of Artorias because I feel like that's probably the best candidate. I don't need to spend any materials to upgrade it plus 10, or well, I need to get a shield up to plus 10. But aside from that, it's not like I need any Demon Titanite to increase its stability or block percentage or anything. So I'm just going to grab that when I can. They just nerf you. Can't talk about them, but I am. You can't stop me. Oh, I should probably level up my... Well, I need to rest at a bonfire down here anyway. Miyazaki. I've never done a shield poke build, which is part of the reason I wanted to do this stream in the first place. Going insane farming Silver Knights. I assume Dark Souls 3? Or are you trying to get, like, a weapon in this game? Also, hello. They take you in the UFOs, yeah. But who's they? Is it the aliens? Because I feel like... Is it like the aliens are just the game masters, as it were? Is that the lore that we're going with? Farming proofs, yeah. Farming Silver Knights in Dark Souls 3 is so much fun. Aliens, indeed. Hello, Loot Crate, welcome. Hello, Hawkbird Tree, welcome. Lots of people joining the stream relatively early, actually. Aliens is a perfect name. That's their like scientific name. The Game Masters? So dumb. They don't call it gaming for nothing. What are you going for an achievement? Or are you just trying to get specific spells or whatever? Wait. Excuse me. Excuse me, please? Jesus. Yeah, joining at the end of the stream seems to be a fairly common occurrence from a couple people. 100%. That sounds awful. I am so sorry for this thing you have chosen to do to yourself. Why is the Drake so clingy? I mean, personally, I generally don't have a problem with clinginess, but when I, need to do things, that's kind of an exception. So I need 12 dexterity and 34 strength, I think, for the shield. 13 dexterity for the partisan. Quite fun. Not my personal taste of fun, but hey, if you're enjoying it. God, it's so weird to actually have to level up strength instead of just, like, having the strength from two-handing. Not being able to two-hand for a strength requirement is not something I'm used to. I don't know how much I'll actually be relying on the shield. It's a playstyle that I've wanted to use for a while, so I'll try to do it consistently, but chances are I'm going to forget and just start two-handing the spear anyway. Would you level? What? That just makes the game too easy. You're telling me I should level past requirements to make the game easier? What is this, baby mode? I haven't done a soul level 1 playthrough in a long time, actually. Enjoying? Absolutely not. Yeah, Spelunker makes pretty solid Dark Souls videos. Highly recommend. You've never done soul level 1? I mean, to be fair, unrestricted soul level 1 isn't, like, particularly interesting anyway. But I don't know. I do recommend it. I do think also blooming. That's the rarest one. I do recommend it just as like a fun thing to do, but it's not like difficult by any means. It's no armor, no deaths, no bonfires, no Estus. Yeah, that's that sure is a way to play the video game. The numbers to look at. That's not. I mean, I think what I find to be the most interesting part of Dark Souls is like building your character and finding how to use weapons and such most effectively, but also in a unique way, right? Because like obviously for every weapon in the Greatsword class, you can just level up your strength and then to 27 and then dexterity to 40, and then you have a very effective way of using the weapon. But then doing the same build for all of them just gets really, really stale really, really quickly. But like for some of them, you might grab the Grass Crush Shield, or for some of them, you might go for Passion over Function or whatever, depending on how strong the weapon is. Or then like you do Great Lord, Greatsword in New Game Plus because you want to suffer, that kind of thing. Have we done a randomizer? I have. I did a Nuzlocke thingy as like the 5K special. I don't know, I didn't love that, but the idea was fun and I feel like it has potential. I just don't think I executed it very well. But it was an item randomizer, and if you died while using a weapon, you can use that weapon again. So like, a Pokemon fainting is tantamount to dying with a weapon in hand kind of thing. Yeah, I've done a randomizer on the channel before. I think that was the only one I mean, I've done like the Diablo-style loot drops, which was kind of a randomizer. I don't know. Soul Level 1 is not Pyromancy only. If you played Soul Level 1 as Pyromancy only, then you're missing out on a lot of what Soul Level 1 has to offer. I recommend finishing a Soul Level 1 playthrough. If not for nothing other than the novelty, even if it's not particularly difficult or whatever. That's in boxes. Yeah, reinforced club. I mean, there are a lot of really fun weapons in Soul Level 1. Whether or not they're good is another matter, but like there are several you can use to spice up a Soul Level 1 run. Like Jagged Ghostblade is one of my favorites to use in a Soul Level 1 run. It's not good, but it's very unique. Actually has a pretty strong use case in Soul Level 1 because it's pretty strong early on into the game. You can use it up until you get a reinforced club like properly upgraded and like infused or whatever, right? Becomes too easy in future playthroughs. I don't think that's an issue with Soul Level 1 specifically, to be fair. I've kind of had that with most of my runs, and then I don't play for 2 weeks and I forget everything, and then a casual playthrough of the game is... Hello, NBD Sumo, welcome. I should equip the things. The point of the run. Is that gonna... It is. Maybe I should go... Still Havel. Yeah, but then there's like... I mean, you can use a lot of weapons in Soul Level 1. Like, even battle axe... Or, I mean, hand axe. Am I doing? Hand axe with, gold pine resin in Soul Level 1 is fun. There are a lot of different ways to make a Soul Level 1 playthrough interesting. You know, I'm glad I'm not the only one who has that thought when I read that name. Yeah, I'm glad that people are using that Dark Souls 3 video for its intended purpose. It was it was really fun to do, and I am still definitely working on the Dark Souls 2 one, but it's so much work. It's so difficult to record um something like that for an extended period of time, but it is really, really fun to record and really, really fun to make. And I'm very happy with the final video. Yeah. Yeah, Warpick is another one that I've heard is interesting in Soul Level 1. I still want to do a run with the Warpick. Maybe I should do a Soul Level 1 playthrough with it. I also want to do a Soul Level 1 playthrough with the Jagged Ghostblade, because the Ghostblade, the non-jagged version, is significantly worse than the Ghostblade. So if I just do a casual playthrough with the Jagged Ghostblade, I don't think that would be very different. But I could also do a Soul Level 1 playthrough with the Warpick. Yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised if most, or if a significant portion of people actually sat through the whole video. It's a 8.5 hour video. So I don't expect most people to finish it. So the average view duration is like almost 30 minutes. There was no extra damage from two-handing, by the way. Oh, 4 extra damage. Yeah, but you're an exception, Krista. I said most people. I think the battle axe would do more damage. Let me see. Oh yeah, significantly more damage. Beating. Hey, this isn't a challenge run. This is a weapon showcase run. And I'm showcasing the fact that the weapon sucks for this. So... It's not a partisan, but like, would you rather me sit here for twice the amount of time doing nothing but parrying Havel and then messing up at the very end and then having to do the whole thing again? I don't think there are any rules to this run. I just want to build around the Partisan. Oh my god, and of course people are saying yes. I don't know, in my experience, people watch my streams to flirt with me and watch me get flustered. I guess that could be defined as suffering by some people. Yeah, that too. Implying that it's both. Uh oh. I wanted a backstab. You. Personally, I just don't particularly enjoy Scumnuts videos. I don't know if he actually did anything bad. Not my personal taste. Did he do something bad? Honestly, given his personality, that doesn't surprise me at all. There can be multiple reasons. Okay, but like I feel like there's a pretty dramatic difference between those two reasons. Okay. Okay. I don't have a bone. Ugh. Guess I could go buy bones, but I don't know if that's actually worth it. Honestly, I stream for the community. The game is just kind of background noise most of the time. I never figured out about the lizard only because I kill it literally every single run just in case it decides to give me a Titanite chunk. But those two lizards, the one here in the basin and then the one over there, are the only two I ever kill. So I always forget where every other lizard in the game is. I know there are a few somewhere in Great Hollow. There's one in just before Seat's encounter. There's one just past, excuse me, the Golden Fog Wall and the Tomb of the Giants. And that's all I remember. Throw a firebomb at the barrel. Does it instantly kill the thingy? Oh yeah, true. I guess masochism does make them not mutually exclusive. I didn't think about that. I don't know. I don't usually have firebombs though, to be fair. Unless I start as a thief, and then I usually keep the firebombs for... Well, actually, yeah, I usually use one or two of the firebombs on the lizard here, in the basin, but I guess I don't usually use the other. Yeah, I remember seeing that crystal lizard plush. Actually, I've seen a lot of like specifically crystal lizard like pendants and plushes and everything. And they're all, I always forget how cute they're represented. Buy a few of these. And I'm gonna go kill the Baronite Knight. And then fight the gargoyle. Crystal lizard, crystal lizard, crystal lizard, crystal lizard, crystal lizard, crystal lizard, crystal lizard. I was gonna mess up if I tried one more time. What? You hate crystal lizards? To be honest. Just pummeled the little dude? That's so mean. My forehead. Frizzle lizzle. That's significantly easier to say. So, that's significantly worse damage. Good. Humans ones are sassy. I never thought about it like that. Like, I've thought about it, but not explicitly. And now that you say it out loud, you're so correct. That sure is technically damage. Okay. The slight protection is not worth the significantly lower damage. I'm very excited to upgrade this and to actually like level up so I can do decent damage. Honestly, just because the scaling... Hello? Just because of the scaling, it's probably... It might not be worth doing like a phalanx build on this one. Um, is there a strength scaling spear? Like, is the wing spear strength scaling? Or something? Grizzle Lizzle with her twink tit girlfriend. Really? I have a vague recollection of the winged spear being considered good. But I don't know if it does strength scaling or anything. Like a strength? Question mark? Potentially. Yeah, I think I need to buy one more Titanite shard. Um, hmm. I don't know if it's worth doing then skip now. Yeah. I mean, I used my shield a lot in my first playthrough, but it wasn't like... Is Grasscrest Twinkling Titanite? Is it worth upgrading it? Does it increase stability? Sorry, I got ADHD'd. I used a shield a lot in my first playthrough, but I never did shield poking, which was probably a very good thing. uh, I mean, I've never done a shield poke build, but the last time I actually used a shield was when I did the Artorias and Sierra run with Aurora. That went up on her channel a while ago. But that was the last time I actually like used a shield at all. This is technically damage. Okay. See you later. Excuse me, please. Excuse me, please. This is mean. Ah. Lilith, thank you so much. Hold on, I'm trying to not die. What? I forgot that one was there. Okay. I think putting out is my best chance there. You know, I really appreciate the attempt at the pun there. Thank you so much. Partisan buy? I don't think I get that one, unfortunately. Oh, it's not strength scaling, but you need 24 strength for it. Interesting. I read on the wiki last night, I think, that the Partisan actually has a pretty versatile moveset. I guess it's because it has this sweep on the R2, which does seem pretty useful. And it's also very, very useful for crowds. Wow. Okay. You know, despite the low damage for like bosses and such, I think just the moveset alone would make this significantly easier for like a casual playthrough where you're not just sprinting past everything. High Partisan is a verse? I mean, realistically, probably. Okay. I'm gonna try to play somewhat cautiously. Oh wow, that's actually significantly more damage on the R2 than I was expecting. What's the scaling on the winged spear, if anyone knows? Oh, I should get the Leo ring, huh? I didn't even think about that. That's unfortunate. Okay. That's also unfortunate. Can you not just obliterate the entirety of the playfield? eh. Okay. Thank you. Probably should have gone for the other one, but it's fine. Okay, good. Thank you. Perfect. Lemon jello? I mean, lemon is a pretty common flavor for most desserts, I feel like, right? That pun was great. You know, I'm not like I engage in political discourse, but I forget terminology because I don't care about terminology in political discourse, um, or the ideas behind the terminology. So the term partisan didn't occur in my mind to mean what it actually means. It took me a little bit to get it. I had to make 5 pies. That's a lot of pies. That's the thing, though. People aren't determined to be stuck in their ways. There's always a chance to change someone's mind. Like, even if you don't do it in the moment, it's still very possible that someone changes their mind in the future because of something you say in the moment, right? That's what happened to me. Um, it was, God, like 3, 4 years after I heard the most convincing argument for my uh, deconversion from Christianity. So, like, this weapons is even good. So far, it's pretty good. For it's subpar for bosses specifically, but for enemies, it's actually pretty solid. Partisan is like choosing a side in a debate. Yeah, on one side or the other, and bipartisan is like on both sides. So like if a policy is bipartisan in um, American politics, it would be both supported by Republicans and Democrats, which like Republicans and Democrats aren't actually on two sides of the political aisle, but you get the idea. I mean, the fact that you like aren't a cishet white man, I think gives you place in political discourse. So like, you know, I think just your existence gives you a meaningful spot, unfortunately. Okay. I guess I should level up strength as much as I'd rather level up dex for damage. But like, who needs damage if I'm not going to be taking any? Have fun on your day. Thank you for being here while you could. Um, do I want to do sun skip now? Do I want to do sun skip at all? I don't want to fight Quailag with a +5. Yeah, I'm gonna do sun skip. And I'm gonna go do Death's Clip as well. Very normal. Oops, Dark Souls gameplay. Don't kill me. Hey. No, turn around. Excuse me, please. Oh my goodness. Am I going down? Okay, I think I'm down. That was very confusing. I had no idea where I was at for a good couple of seconds there. But it worked out. Leave stream open for analytics. I appreciate that. Oh, come on. Please. There we go. First ever Dark Souls play in a relationship? I don't think that's entirely true. I wouldn't say the worst enemy is the camera, at least not in this context. This is definitely very much not intended camera behavior. Yeah, I'm in several. Oh my god. Do you have any idea? Okay, yeah, the camera in Bloodborne sucks, but I feel like that's less the camera's fault and more the fault of choosing to have giant bosses that take up 90% of the field of view when your character already takes up way more than it should anyway. The camera is fine. The context of the camera is terrible. Owie. Okay. Let's see if I can successfully make it without having to stop. Barely. Yeah, the snake getting crunched by the boulder is still, to this day, one of my favorite parts of the entire game. And I think it always will be. Okay. Sorry, I'm not like responding to a lot of chat messages. I feel like a lot of them are hard to respond to. Especially live on stream. I don't want to say something stupid. It is very much a high possibility for me. Favorite Souls joke? Oh, that's a really good question, actually. I've never really thought about it. Off the top of my head, I don't particularly like just remember them. Most of them. I'm not sure. I think the snake getting hit by the boulder is like top 3 for me though. Yeah, are we including like community jokes? Or is this specifically like developer jokes? Because like, and then to that end, what are we considering a joke? Like, women with bare feet, is that a joke? Because it's a common trope among the games. And the community thinks it's funny. But I don't know that Miyazaki necessarily intended women with bare feet to be a running joke in the Souls games. Not a joke. It's Miyazaki's thing, yeah. True. Screaming Hollow in the dungeon is very much a good one. That one actually got me in the recording for the peak playthrough that I did. That would be hilarious. I think we should do it just because it would be funny. Put as many women with bare feet in the video game as possible. It would be, imagine how hilarious that would be. The boulder coming back in the asylum is very funny. I agree. That is a good one. Wait. Okay. Okay. That's clip. Oh, I have Hevel's ring now. Probably put that on my armor. Yeah, of course you do. That was my reaction in my mind. One of my favorite like community jokes that I have 2 that I think were really funny. The first one that I saw was in Dark Souls 2, and Aldia's Keep, in front of one of the mirrors, it said fatty ahead, which that one was pretty funny. And the other one that I think of all the time, in Elden Ring, in Castle Morn, there's like that area just before the boss that's like covered in water, like really shallow water on the sand there. And if you go over to the right of where you drop down in there, there's a crab that comes up out of the ground. There was a message. The first time I played the game, there was a message that said time for crab right where the crab spawns. So I read the message, read time for crab, and then a crab popped up out of the ground and killed me. And that was probably the funniest death I've ever had in a Souls game. Amazing chest ahead is pretty good. Shell Undead and New Lando Ruins. The one like laying on its side in the sexy pose. A lot of really, really good like community message posts or jokes. Okay. Hopefully, I don't end up dying while traversing the depths. Wouldn't put it past me. Pardon me. A crab boss fight? Is there not one? Is there not like a crab-esque boss fight? If not a crab specifically? I mean, like, worst comes to worst. We always have another crab's treasure. The ravenous crab. Didn't that get a free content update recently? I should play that. I should do the no shell thing in that as well. I think it'd be fun. Oh god. That was very close. Maybe an Elden Ring too. Maybe a Night Rain. Might be a crab boss fight in Night Rain. And it would be redeemed in the eyes of people who think it's slop. Hopefully. I like to think that people would be kind enough to realize that Night Rain is like a genuine project for someone if it has a crab boss fight. I'm actually kind of excited to do the Great Axe playthrough only because you can grab it from out of bounds. And yeah, you can grab it right here. I think it will be funny to collect the Great Axe like that playthrough. Grab upper half. Yeah, calling turtles dogs is pretty good. Calling anything that isn't a dog is pretty good. Interacting with patches is pretty funny. I mean, I guess it can be. Recluse character trailer. I played the Recluse a little bit during the network test, and I'm really, really bad at it. The Duchess is still by far my favorite. Though I haven't watched any of the character trailers that have come out. I want to go into it blind, except for what I've personally played. The Recluse just doesn't fit my playstyle personally, so I'm really, really bad at it, and therefore didn't enjoy playing it. You know, that's significantly better damage than I was expecting, to be honest. Yeah, there were, I think it was the night before the network test. There were, I saw a lot of fan art of the Recluse. A lot of it is pretty good too. Oop. I think dogs and similar enemies are where shield pokes shine the most, to be honest. Oh, come on. There we go. Yeah, it's a rule for a reason. Oh my god. Intimidating. Look in transition. I don't know, Recluse is younger than Logan though, right? So if anything, Logan is FTM. Regardless of whether or not Recluse is Logan, I feel like we can agree that Logan being FTM is a good headcanon anyway. Magic estrogen? Okay, yeah, that's fair. It can go either way. Someone who reminded you of patches? That's unfortunate for them. Okay, I'm gonna go upgrade the Partisan before fighting Quelaag. Hey, wow, we had the same thought. I always forget to upgrade my flask. I don't know why I thought about it just now, but glad we had the same thought. Why is he called Big Hat Logan? Because his name is Logan. And his hat, I mean, his hat is kind of small, actually. That's a good question. Repair powder with the estrogen. Yeah, same singular brains. Really does need to up his hat game. Not the words that I would have used to put that into thoughts, but yeah, I agree. Am I offline? Why am I offline? Do I have my network setting to be offline by default? Ew, what if I want to see potential vagrants? If you can see the body, the hat is too small. That's true. What's the biggest hat in the series? I feel like the Crystal Sage hat. Oops. Might as well go. This is bigger than Logan's, right? His legal Christian name is big. What is a legal Christian name? And why is it specifically Christian? This technically is damage, unfortunately. I mentioned in some run, I don't remember which one, that this fight is like weirdly similar to the Stray Demon when you fight him like this. And that's feeling a lot more accurate right now than it did when I said that. Okay, well maybe not when he's up there. Can you not do that, please? That's slightly better. Requires slightly more stamina management, and that's it. Some of his swinging attacks do give him a hitbox on his tail, but none of the attacks that he does while you're standing there will cause the tail hitbox. So you'll bully me if I don't get the Leer ring. I will do my best to remember. Okay. Only need one more large titanite shard. Did I get large titanite shards from one of the lizards? I must have. Could say the partisan is in this stream. I'll probably say that at the end of the stream. I don't know. I mean, I'm not enjoying it so far. Wait, did I rest at the bonfire here? Okay, yeah, I did. Oops. I don't know why I forgot that I rested there. I probably had just done it too. ADHD. That Dark Souls 4 mod? Archthrones? I have not played Archthrones because I wasn't interested in it at all. Because it takes a lot of stuff from like Elden Ring, which I very much do not enjoy as much as other Dark Souls games, and I feel like also very much does not fit in the context of the combat of Dark Souls 3. And at the time that it came out, I also just did not like Dark Souls 3 very much. I'm sure eventually I'll give it a try, but it's really not to my taste. I mean, the damage doesn't need to be particularly good to be a decent weapon, right? I think that's the moveset is a lot more important in most contexts. Where am I from? Uh, what do you mean? Is my accent not sufficiently American? Specifically, actually, I was born in a cheese factory. So, if that's why you're wondering, if my cheese factoryness comes through expressly. Yeah, the hospital I was born in Tillamook, Oregon, is like 2 miles from the creamery, which used to be called the cheese factory. And I was born when it was called the cheese factory, and they do still like make cheese there and stuff. So I was born basically in a cheese factory. Not Wisconsin, actually. The other cheese place, the little town in Oregon that nobody knows for anything other than cheese. I have a strong Australian accent. Dude, it's like... Yeah. Personally, I would hope for something closer to like better, but you know. Wallaby, Joey, or mate. There you go. I said all three. Flight is really fun. Flight is my second favorite level after Sun's Fortress because for some reason, literally every single one of my opinions is contrarian, despite genuinely just having those opinions. To be fair, uh, PlayStation 3 Dark Souls really did Blighttown dirty. So, like, I understand the hate that Blighttown got. For people who played it first and remastered, I don't understand. But, like, you know, if you played it on PS3 or Xbox 360, was it ever on 360? I don't know. Anyway, if you played it on one of those consoles in that generation, then it was probably a lot more. You can see how someone could think Australian. Okay. I don't know. I don't think I get to choose what cheese accent I have. Okay. Let's see what our damage is like. You know, not good. Not the worst, but certainly not good. Oh god. Ooh. I wonder if I could hit her human half, actually, by just looking up. Does not seem to be the case. Unfortunate. Oh my god. I pressed the roll button, I swear. On the bright side, my controller shouldn't disconnect this time. I have a new cable that hasn't disconnected for me yet. And I have faith. Just for you, Krista. Oh god. Why did I skip Blighttown? Because the goal is to beat the game, not play through Blighttown. I want to see how good the weapon is. Sound pretty. I was born in Tillamook, Oregon, right? In the cheese factory. Pacific Northwest. The cutscene? Because I've seen it 6,000 times. I mean, for Dark Souls 1 specifically, the spear is pretty common just because you get it. You get the lightning spear in a very, very beneficial spot to get a lightning infused spear. And then a lot of people will use spears for the rest of their run because of that. That's not an uncommon thing. Hope is not exclusive to Canadians. This is accurate. Trying to catch up on in the chat because a lot happened while fighting. Yeah, most people who watch me are from the US, but there are a lot of non-US people who um, maybe not here. I mean, there are at least a couple here specifically, but most people here. Honestly, if spears were as powerful in video games as they are in real life, I think spears would be a lot more liked generally in like the zeitgeist, you know? Something happened to the audio? Maybe the majority of people here right now aren't from the US, I guess. But the majority of people who watch my videos generally are from the US, just because of how YouTube recommends content and everything. Significantly more likely to recommend your videos to people in your same country and in your same geographic area. What does youpers mean? What? What is a youper? Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that spears aren't super powerful from like a balance standpoint, but from a realism standpoint, it is definitely unfortunate. Yeah, if you attack ceaseless at all before collecting the clothes, it'll start attacking. You don't need to collect the clothes at all. Yeah, if you are... So, do you mean he was spamming it because you were standing over by the fog wall? Or he was spamming it while you were, like, trying to attack him? Because there are certain spots that he won't follow you to if you didn't collect the clothes first. Which make it harder to fight him. Okay, 34, and then... I don't know, I guess. Oh, I do need to level up a shield, though. I kind of forgot about that. What's the easiest shield to level up for the Great Sword? Or Great Shield? Oh, Artorias. I'm also gonna go ahead and start... and grab the very large ember. Do a Dark Souls 3 stream. The problem with that is I probably wouldn't be able to finish Dark Souls 3 in a single stream because I'm terrible at Dark Souls 3. uh, if I get to the point where I could finish Dark Souls 3 in a single stream within, like, ish hours, then I would do that. I mean, like, I could stream a playthrough of Dark Souls 3. I just don't know what would warrant multiple streams. Because, like, if I'm just doing a playthrough with a weapon, I wouldn't want to do multiple streams for that, you know? I probably shouldn't be two-handing anymore, actually. Also, do I not have the thingy on? I do not. Might be worth getting the Ornstein ring, but I also don't want to go down into the Great Hollow, so I don't. It depends on the boss for me, because I find a lot of early game Dark Souls 3 bosses to be about on par in difficulty with Dark Souls 1 bosses. But then, like, I don't know, I would say most of the later game bosses are harder, only because The only thing you need to be good at Dark Souls 1 is knowledge. You just need to know how to beat the enemy, how to beat the bosses. But in Dark Souls 3, it takes a lot more like mechanical skill. Like just by the nature of how the game works. You need better reaction time um, in order to be good at Dark Souls 3, regardless of how much you know about the game. Just because of how the game plays is. Or it feels harder than Dark Souls 3 bosses or Dark Souls 1 bosses. I would significantly disagree. I would say Vort is easier than most Dark Souls 1 bosses. Ouch. That is actually, I don't know if that's true. I would say he's definitely significantly easier than several Dark Souls 1 bosses, like most later half bosses, but I don't know. I'd probably put him on par with like Stiff. You know, I think a lot of my dislike of Dark Souls 3 doesn't even come from the game itself. Like um because there was a long time where I just simply did not like Dark Souls 3. And now I like it. It's a great game, and I enjoy it quite a bit. But I think a lot of my dislike of it came from the community around it, saying it's like the best game ever, and it's so much better than the other Souls games or whatever, when it's just not. It just has a different focus. I think that's a large part of the reason that I disliked Dark Souls 3 for so long. Now, Vor is just fat Sif. Yeah, something like that. I would actually say Crystal Sage is a similar difficulty to like Pinwheel. Not because, well, just because like if you have high damage, Crystal Sage is incredibly easy, just like Pinwheel. And if you don't like have a +3 with a decent weapon and half decent scaling, it's gonna be way, way, way harder, just like Pinwheel. Yeah, it's my least favorite of the trilogy, but Elden Ring is definitely, I definitely prefer Dark Souls 3 to Elden Ring. But obviously that's outside of the trilogy. Dark Souls 2 is definitely not the worst. If I didn't have autism, Dark Souls 2 would be my favorite by far, just because it has the most build variety by far. It has the most interesting selection of bosses. It has the most game to it. It has some of the best level design of any game I've ever played. Um, Especially like the difference between vanilla and scholar. Vanilla was like, it's fine. And then scholar has some of my favorite level design in any game I've ever played. Probably, yeah, the forest is incredible. um, if I had to guess why you had less fun in Dark Souls 2, it's probably because you were playing it like Dark Souls 1. You can't play it in the same way. Dark Souls 2 is a lot more about observation, careful observation, and understanding where potential ambushes are, and then using your environment to your advantage to avoid those ambushes and to prevent them entirely, as opposed to Dark Souls 3, where you just get ambushed and then kill all the enemies anyway. And then Dark Souls 1, where um, you have to notice the ambush, but you don't have to use anything to your advantage to avoid it. You just kind of have to know that it's there. First place. Um, but then I don't know. It also kind of depends on your playstyle with the games. Okay, let's see if I can get the chunks without dying. What do you mean meditative? I think I disagree with that. um, just because it's you need to like pay a lot of attention most of the time, right? So I don't think meditative fits that as a description that is fitting of Dark Souls 2 and how it expects you to play the game. Hopefully I get a chunk, at least, from a Dark Wraith. Uh oh, that's not good. Okay. Come here. Okay, and then I guess I can just sprint straight to the other. Hope I get 2 slabs in a row. What was it? Like 0.02% chance or something? The absurdly low chance to get 2 slabs in a row with no drop chance increasing things. Okay. I would like to keep these souls, but I don't have any particular attachment to them. Do I have any bones? I'm actually not sure. I have a bone. Perfect. In terms of difficulty, I think that, I mean, obviously that's a very subjective thing. Personally, I find Dark Souls 1 to be the easiest, but I've also played it the longest. I would say Dark Souls 2 is probably the hardest, depending on your build. Dark Souls 2's difficulty is very, 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 very dependent on your build. I don't know. It kind of depends, I guess, on how you play the games. Okay, there are 4 more chunks I can get, and then there's the one in Orlando. Okay, I need to get all the static chunks, unfortunately. I don't know. I don't think Dark Souls 3 is the hardest, as long as you understand how to play it. I would have considered Dark Souls 3 the hardest a little bit ago, but I don't know. After doing a proper playthrough of it, where I, like, actually try to play the game, I enjoyed it a lot more. Hold on, you think Dark Souls 3 looks pretty? Question mark? That is... Among the people who don't like Dark Souls 3, anyway, that is a very, very uncommon opinion. Just because everything is gray. Thinking Dark Souls 3 is pretty is not an uncommon opinion. But the majority of people who think it looks pretty, it's their favorite game in the series. What do you mean mage build in Dark Souls 2 isn't that powerful? I highly disagree. I have about 1,000 hours in Dark Souls 1. About 350, something like that, in Dark Souls 2. And about 300 in Dark Souls 3, I think. Maybe like 250 in Dark Souls 3. I'd have to check. PS3 looks waxy. What do you mean turn down the brightness? That makes it look more gray. Are you saying turn up the contrast? Because that's not the issue either. It's just the saturation is insanely low on everything. Like, you can make it look decent with reshade or whatever, but I think the default look for Dark Souls 3 looks very, very boring. I always play on default brightness, which is generally darker than I would prefer anyway. I just don't bother to actually change the setting most of the time, because I'd have to change it every time I play it on a different screen, or am playing in different lighting conditions or whatever. So I just don't. What? I'm not... I love Dark Souls 2 and 3. And Dark Souls 1. Dark Souls 1 is my favorite game of all time, and Dark Souls 2 is... I don't know, it's not in my top 10, just because I like so many games, but definitely in my top 15. I would say Dark Souls 2 and 3 are both in my top 15 games of all time. I just generally tend to prefer what Dark Souls 1 does. I saw the femboy fighting the dragon trailer for that game, um, in or during the Game Awards, but that's kind of all I've seen of Kazan. Was that Kazan? Actually, I don't remember. Is it the femboy one? I mean, yeah, but even if it's supposed to look gray, that doesn't mean it looks good being gray. um, I don't know. I don't think it looks, like, bad. I just think it looks the least visually interesting of the three games. Or, I guess that would also include Bloodborne and Elden Ring and Sekiro and Demon Souls. I think Demon Souls probably, the original, looks the most visually interesting. And then the remake, regardless of the atmosphere itself, I think it's pretty safe to say that the Demon Souls remake looks the highest fidelity, for lack of a better term. But play it, it's super hard, and you would rank it above all the Souls games in difficulty. I don't know. Difficulty isn't fun on its own, in my opinion. I do still need to play Liza P. If someone wants to give me money to buy Kazan, I will. Yeah, I would agree. Dark Souls 2. I think Demon Souls has the strongest atmosphere, followed very closely by Bloodborne. And then Dark Souls 2 looks the prettiest most of the time. Yeah, and Bellissimo, I very much agree. Shiny rocks. Pretty. Dark Souls 2 mage feels weak. I mean, I don't know. I guess it depends. Because you can very much build an extremely powerful mage in Dark Souls 2. Because that's just kind of how Dark Souls 2 is. I'm gonna get 20 vitality, 20 endurance, and then start leveling dex. I would say mage is probably... Krista! What the... Krista! No! Oh my god. Thank you so much. That's so much money. Krista! First of all, that is significantly more money than Kazan costs. But also, that's way too much money. Krista. Oh my god. Yeah, money jump scare, Jesus. You need money too, Krista. Thank you. Jesus. What? I don't even remember what I was talking about. Oh yeah, Mage and Demon Souls is definitely the most powerful way, or most powerful class in Demon Souls. Yeah, now I have to play Kazan, and I'll also play Liza P. I promise. That'll be after I finish. Well, I want to finish my Dark Souls 2 playthrough, but I don't know how long that's gonna be. If you're not loaded, then you should keep money for yourself. You need it too. Okay. Not sure if I was gonna make that. So I think you gotta decide whether or not I play Liza P before I finish my Dark Souls 2 playthrough, because you like that game. Shouldn't have said anything about money. I should have known Krista was gonna do that. Um. Oh, I also like Dark Souls 2. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna do the like critique thing that I did with Dark Souls 3 and Dark Souls 2. I don't know. In terms of Ren, in terms of like good looking, quote unquote, I don't think that fidelity necessarily translates to looking good, because I think Dark Souls 2 has the most interesting looking environments, and executes on how interesting they look in the best way. I would say that the original Demon Souls also does that better for Demon Souls environments, and the remakes environments, while stunning, don't do the environments themselves justice and the atmosphere that the game could hold, evidenced by the original game. Yeah, I mean, whether or not, or for whichever game you choose, Krista, it's going to be the critique-esque playthrough that I do. Just whether or not I finish Dark Souls 2 and then do Lies of P, or do Lies of P and then finish Dark Souls 2. Your PC's power supply explodes. That is unfortunate. And also seems dangerous. Yeah, that's what I mean by fidelity, Ren. It has like the highest like quality, quote unquote, um, assets and visuals and stuff. Okay, I will do Lights of P. Excuse me. Hmm. But then the question is, do I do the same thing with Kazan as well? I would agree. Definitely too much. I do very much appreciate it, more than I could express. But also, you need money, Krista. But everything's fine. Oh, that's not who I wanted to backstab at all. Pardon me. Krista has lost birthday knowing privileges. Okay. The Giants will give me enough for a plus 13, and also enough souls, hopefully. It's also good. Can't risk it. Yeah, maybe I should just never mention anything about money. Speaking of money, I guess I should say something out loud. If you don't want to give your money information to YouTube for whatever reason, as much as they probably already have it anyway, I made a coffee account. I was convinced to make a coffee account. So the link for that is in the description, but it also won't like alert or do an alert or anything or say anything in chat. Krista, do not. uh, you know, thing is, Krista, if you travel, then you're not going to have to spend any money on anything else. You know, you can just consider that. You know, I probably shouldn't be two-handing, actually. But motion values and higher damage numbers. And it's not like using a shield is going to be particularly useful against a giant, so. I'm gonna talk to traversal. The combat, wait, you think Demon Souls combat feels worse than Dark Souls 1? In what way? I'm genuinely curious. I think they feel almost exactly the same. The only difference that I can feel personally is like free timing. And like obviously enemy timing, but that just comes with the territory of being a different Souls game. Two-handing is what you say before bed. I think you should be. I don't know what you're two-handing, but it does give you more damage. So like, can it really be that bad? Unless it's like, well, no, because if you're two-handing a fist weapon, that means you're doing it in Dark Souls 2, so it is more damage. Unless it's a shield. You shouldn't be two-handing a shield. Ow. My chin. um, I mean, I played both on PS5, and I think they feel pretty much exactly the same as they would on PC. Or well, I played Dark Souls on both, and I played Demon Souls on a PS3 emulator and on PS5. I mean, on my genuine PS3. PC and Demon Souls. What's? I mean, you can do that in Dark Souls 1 too. Totally talking about a shield. Yeah, see, that's the only thing that I would say you shouldn't be two-handing. Or bed. Or at any time, really. Get more hydration damage. That's a good idea. I don't know why I didn't think about that. I'll two-hand my water bottle while going down this elevator. No, you didn't see, but I did genuinely grab my water bottle with two hands and took a drink of water, and I do feel significantly more hydrated, so... Guess it wasn't a joke after all. Okay. Somebody asked something about how many hits I thought it would take to stagger the Iron Golem. Is it resistant to thrust damage? I don't think so. Hello. Sorry, I'm trying to decipher how to pronounce your name. Erin around? Please correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. Need one more, which I can get in front of the giant blacksmith. Get my plus 15 before Ornstein. I'll probably... God, I hate fighting Super Ornstein with the spear. Ugh. I do still need to get a shield to plus 10. Oh. Or I could just continue two-handing this one, but I've already invested so many levels in strength. I gotta use the great shield. Just Aaron? Okay. More like stupid Ornstein, so true. One hand L2? I mean R2? I think it's just a swing. Yeah. Basically same as the AA Ron reference. Oh my goodness, Deuterium knows our reference? Shocking. I don't think I've ever seen that one run away like that. That was true fear. Okay. Okay. 4 hits, it turns out, is the answer. Assuming I land all 4 of them on the ankle. I did not. There we go. Oops. I don't even know what that is actually from. Is it just a skit on its own? AA Ron? Is that like a... Or is it like from a movie or something? Run away in fear from my... The NPL skit? Okay. A bit more vitality, a little bit more endurance. Yeah, the only reference I've heard, because I have watched the skit before, but none of it stuck in my mind except for Aaron, and that's only because um that's the only joke I've heard, and also it's my dad's name, who I also haven't talked to in like 3 years now. So you, the Better Call Saul's Born series. That is that is a sentence. At least it's not Keith. What's wrong with Keith? I still think one of my favorite like name jokes. Mostly, I thought it was funny because of the context. My dead name is Aiden, and a partner didn't know my dead name at the time, and they sent me a TikTok. I was um, like talking to your friend's little sibling or something. Uh, and he like looks over at him, super disappointed after the other person leaves the room, and he's like, Aiden, Aiden, Aiden. That's the stupidest fucking name I've ever heard. And they had no idea that was my dead name, and I still think about that frequently. I think unfortunately I can't dislike the name Aiden just because it seems like it would be a common like trans mask name, but it is a pretty silly name. That's true. Keith is better than Brian. I don't know. I think Clint uh feels like a slur. I think that's the worst name generally. Brian, the most popular name for gay men. I didn't know there was a name that was the most popular name for gay men that was separate from the most popular name for men generally. David is the worst name. I don't know. There's some pretty bad ones. Besides, I knew a David. He was my coworker. He was probably the my favorite coworker. So I'm so sorry for um insulting two of your family names. And I'm sorry that you have to live with those names. I'm sure. Actually, no, that one's pretty bad. That one's just like a hobby, an occupation. There are a lot of names like that, though. Favorite weapon class in Soulsborne? Um, okay, so the thing is, this is actually pretty funny. Um, I used to be a great sword dude, and then after transitioning, halberds and glaives became my favorite. So went from a great sword dude to a glaive girly. Guy's named Smith. Almost called Gavin. I think Gavin is worse, to be honest. No promises on my ability to successfully beat Ornstein and Smo first try, but I'll do my best. Pandemonium? Like as a first name? That is a fascinating choice. on part of your whoever was about to choose that name, I guess. Being better than Godskin Duo isn't that much of a feat, to be fair. Uh, Not that kind of feat. Not the Miyazaki feat. Like, feat of strength, you know? Feat. Pakistan has decent stagger, it looks like. I'm going to assume that you meant to say partisan. But, what do we rate the stagger potential of different countries, actually? What country has the highest poison? Yeah, I don't know if the Batwing Demons have a particularly high amount of poise. Brazil has the highest stagger damage. I don't know. I feel like larger things generally tend to have higher stagger damage, but like also weight. So like, if we're considering population and weight, then like India or China. Russia has high poise, but does it have high poise damage? Nice stunlock potential. Oh wait, no, not you. Okay. Oh my god. That was, I think, instability damage, which is very unfortunate, because that is not a lot of damage. And especially with it being... What are you doing? Was Ornstein dashing? He was not. Okay. Ah. Admittedly, I'm probably being overly cautious, but... Can you not scoop Ornstein with you, please? I'd really appreciate it if you didn't. Thank you. For separating slightly, at least. Ah. Okay. So far, so good. Ow. Okay. Transylvania has weird iframes. If we're going with the bit that, like, trans people from Transylvania, trans people are good at fighting games, then, Transylvania is probably the most powerful. Regardless of poise damage. I don't know if I'll die in one hit from the grab attack, to be honest. I might. Which would be unfortunate. Especially because it's weirdly difficult to dodge. I feel like that's most of Super Ornstein, though. What's the running R2? Okay. Awful. Good to know. So, Dragon Slayer from Dark Souls 2, right? He has the butt slam attack. Does that mean he absorbed Smo's power and slowly shrunk over time? What's the lore there? Why does he have the butt slam in Dark Souls 2? All right. He dropped it on the ground, right? He does. There we go. Leo ring. Cool. Still has a cool moveset. Oh yeah, first try. Proud of myself for beating Super Ornstein first try when I never ever fight him. England's bleed damage. Any update on the mod? Uh, all I really have left before I'm happy to release it as like a demo is just a bunch of balancing stuff. Um, but I don't remember how I was balancing it, so I'd have to go back through and see what I did to like see if to see how like to change things. It's probably going to take a little bit because I need to get the motivation to just go through every single weapon and rebalance them again. But eventually, it'll come out as a demo. More souls make you bigger. Is that why the Estwalian merchant is big? He has a lot of souls because he sells expensive stuff. Okay, fifth time. Okay, Hydra's gonna be... Scotland and Wales have linking hitboxes. Hmm. Interesting. Netherlands would be a magic weapon? That's a good question. I don't think I disagree, though. I get it. I get the vibes. I feel like... Hmm. How do we define, like, faith weapons? Is it, like, general practitioner? Because, like, the US is borderline theocracy, right? But also, a lot of the people who live here don't want theocracy. Like, is it based on the population? Is it based on the government? How do we define things like that? Personally, I think the US would just be a pure strength scaling weapon if we're going based on government. Because chances are they don't actually believe what they're imposing, right? So but if we're going based on general population, then if Israel was a faith weapon, that's true. It was conceived especially because of faith, right? So I would agree that Israel is a faith weapon. I don't want to get hit by the water. Of course, I get hit by it anyway. Well, because like certain countries are founded on religion or have required religious practices, right? Ireland is doing a backlogs challenge run. Okay. I always mess up that timing. I don't know why. Hopefully the length of the weapon will make it possible to get the last head over the water. Wow, even knowing that I was going to mess up the timing, I still messed up the timing. Jesus. I've gotten successfully hit by the Hydra 3 times in a row. It looks like I'm going to have to do all 7 heads, though. I feel like drinking all the time would be insufficient dexterity, right? Not insufficient strength. Oh my god. I wouldn't say that on YouTube. Probably. No, I would, actually. It'd be a lot more explicit than that, I feel like. I don't know. Just wait for the 10K stream, I guess. Okay. Good thing we're not on YouTube. What religion is Solaire? Well, okay. So the thing is, if he worships the sun itself, right? Does he worship the sun? Or does he just see it as, like, incredible or whatever, right? We're impaled live on stream by a real Pasaka. God, I wish. Oh, true, he does praise the sun, right? Put massive text on OBS saying need ahead. Into horoscopes? No. Solaire is better than that. Awesome, Krista. I look forward to it. Oh no, the 10K special is going to be a drunk stream on Discord. Jesus. Because given how the streams are on YouTube when I'm sober, there's no way that a drunk stream will be allowable by YouTube with how I and I would behave. Speaking from its personal experience. Yes, the sun does have a priest king. Go back. An astronomer, not an astrologer. True. Do you need to talk to Dusk to activate the DLC portal? Actually, I have no idea. Get banned off of Discord. I would hope we wouldn't be doing anything illegal. I don't know. I feel like it would also be pretty difficult to get banned off of Discord for a live stream, right? Unless I did something genuinely heinous. And I trust myself more than that. Oh yeah, 100% 18 plus. What is the God run? Anything? Okay, well the idea, right, for the stream, that the conception that I have in my mind is that I make a bunch of cocktails that allude to Dark Souls. So like, an Estus themed cocktail, or like, I don't know, a Ziegbrow or whatever. Then I just kind of drink those while I play the game. Why would I play the game in an extremely boring and unfun way when I just have fun playing the game? A Basaka cocktail? I'm not allowed to talk about that one on YouTube, actually. I'd get banned immediately. Yeah, that's what I mean. There are a bunch of, like, I've seen TikToks talking about, or like going through different cocktails themed on Dark Souls and stuff. Yeah, that's the idea. Drink fire. Yeah, I would get instantly banned from YouTube permanently. Gatorade with a big toothpick. Yeah, something like that. Have a good night, Hawk. Thank you for joining while you could. How do you drink fire? Eat girl juice. I would just take my estrogen on stream. Um, so the thing about if I did an OnlyFans, um, a lot of pictures of me are already available online for free, so I don't think an OnlyFans would be a good business decision, all things considered. Okay. Yeah. You know, I'm doing a lot more damage than I thought I would, and the thigh gaps are also less of an issue than I anticipated. Normally, Sif with thrusting weapons is annoying, but the moveset of the Partisan kind of nullifies that. Come back. I think just for the moveset, this weapon is significantly better than I thought it would be. Okay, just barely prevented the limping. The sad moment. The dog is dead. Um, you got here just in time to see the dog die. Okay. Shield. I need a shield. Can we can we do the thing where we just kind of like pretend that I had a shield and have been upgrading it this whole time? Because realistically, it would just be buying a large Titanite shard and a Titanite shard, and then just duping it to get a shield up to +10. Yeah, most things aren't resistant to me. Sif is a doggy in our hearts. Well, I mean, I would need to upgrade his shield to transcend it into the Great Shield of Artorias. I don't know what options there are for what shields can transform. Most shields don't dramatically, excuse me, increase their stability. When you level them up, it's usually, well, I don't know. Some of them is stability. It kind of depends on the shield, but most of the time it's really just not worth upgrading them at all. Assume that I can give myself that. Hey, Great Shield of Artorias. There it is. Wow. Crazy how I had a +10 shield. Right? Crazy. There we go. I would still prefer to fast roll though, which I can't do anyway. Awesome. Okay. I mean, might as well wear armor in that case if I'm going to be mid rolling anyway. I also don't usually use shields. The last time I used a shield was in an Artorias cosplay run. Okay. Ask of the Father would be helpful. um. Okay. 4 kings before I forget. Hello, Ria. Welcome. Mask of the Mother. I don't actually remember what the Mask of the Mother looks like. I like the curly hair on the Mask of the Child. It's really cute. Well, I'm not... Okay. Doesn't one of the Artorias swords have a special moveset in your left hand, actually? Or is that Dark Souls 2? Yeah, Mask of the Mother is probably the least useful of the 3 masks. Which is saying a lot, because none of them are particularly useful. Mask of the Child is by far the most useful. Why the hell are you purple? That is an underrated invincible moment, I think. When you of three kings and called the hot food. Because in theory, four kings hot eat cold the food. Artorian can animate. Yes, too. I mean, you can still technically get Havel Flip um, in Remastered, technically. New Londo is the worst looking area? I would say it's one of the areas that's the best looking. Very, very strong atmosphere. Does Four Kings is gay? I hope so. I'd be shocked. Oh god. My shield doesn't help with this. Yeah, true. Shapesmith probably would have obliterated. Conquest, there it is. Okay, shield is not worth for this fight. I'm sorry. I just am not going to be able to do enough damage to make that worth it, and it doesn't block enough damage for it to be worth it either. So Leo Ring was doing damage though. That was nice. Pretty sure I got a counter hit. I think the 291 is counter hit damage. Does counter not apply to the actual boss health bar? It doesn't. That is unfortunate. I could definitely do a 5 king fight. In fact, I might have no choice but to do a 5 king fight unless I'm careful with my stamina management here. 4 kings, 0 queens, gay, true. You're not listening. This isn't about me. What do you mean having no endurance? I have 20 endurance. That's a decent amount. That's halfway there. Actually, that's over halfway there because it's past the first soft cap, pretty sure. Oh god. Ah. That is unfortunate. Anyway. Okay. Most likely not gonna have to face 5 kings. No, don't dodge. That's rude. Five kings for the price of 4. You know, I feel like just because of this fight, I can say that the partisan damage is not as bad as I was expecting it to be. Normally weapons that have some gimmick to them, like, you know, spears for having long reach or whatever, or like being a fast weapon, will struggle with the 4 kings. Not happen to be the case. Dark Souls 1 has pretty simple soft caps. I think it's 40 for most of them off the top of my head. I need more damage. I think faith and intelligence are 50 for spells specifically and are 40 for weapons or something. Those ones are kind of weird. Five kings is definitely more gay than 4 kings. Honestly, I think Powerplex is my least favorite villain in Invincible. Just because, like, it's past the point where Mark has, like, I probably shouldn't be giving Invincible spoilers. I don't know. Invincible spoilers. Close your ears if you don't want to hear them. I don't like Powerplex because he shows up after the point that Mark is already like grieved and gone through that stage, right? Um, like if Powerplex showed up in season 2, I think it would have been a lot stronger of a villain. But also the fact that no matter what the outcome was, if he had gotten his legal case, he still would have gone crazy because there's no way that Mark would have been convicted because it wasn't his fault, right? So even if they went through with the legal case and sued Invincible, they would have lost and Powerplex still would have happened. So the motivation doesn't feel compelling because it was going to happen no matter what. It's not like he was just rejected and ignored. And that's what made him mad. It's like, I don't know. I feel like if he was just angry because Invincible killed people and didn't try to go through the legal route, that would have been slightly more compelling. And again, especially if it happened in season 2 instead of season 3. Four Kings does is the gay, yes. Oh my god. That was terrifying. My whole life flashed before my eyes. I literally see him. What do you mean he's invincible? He is pretty funny, that's true. That's the one redeeming quality for Powerplex. Not polygamous, polyamorous, different things. Polygamy is gross and misogynistic. Polyamory is based in cool. You know, I swear to God, I read speaking as squeaking. I thought you were accusing me of squeaking. I Someone said that my 8.5 hour video was just 8 hours of various fox noises, and I thought that was very funny, very cute. Yeah. Okay. I don't think I'm gonna be attacked anymore. Krista, I don't think that's something you're allowed to say on YouTube. Loving multiple people at the same time is conservatives could never have that much love in their heart, so you have to be willing to love multiple. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. And my streams are just various fox noises. Is that why there are so many people here? That's not because I'm like talking interesting things, because let's be real, I'm not. I'm just incomprehensible and making fox noises. I do actually uncontrollably squeak at times. That is a thing that happens. It's very difficult for me to do it on purpose, but it does just kind of happen sometimes. I feel like the crystal set could have been used to greater effect. Because like as is, it's kind of boring. It's just kind of an armor set with crystals on it, as opposed to, um, like, interesting. But I don't think it looks bad or whatever. Put that back on. The true Dark Soul is the friends we made along the way. It's true. Cool. You call solid pesticides pretty, she turned to a fox. What does that mean? I don't think I understand what that means. What is solid pesticides? I should have gotten grabbed there. That would have been funny. Good luck with your soul level 1 playthrough. Polar pellets, but spelled wrong. Well, okay. The thing is, it's not that I turn into a fox. It's that I am more obviously fox when that happens. Oh, I didn't hit backstab. That's unfortunate. We just got robbed of a second Pisaka backstab. Okay, gotta be careful to not accidentally kill both of them at the same time. There we go. I'm also gonna heal just in case. Was that a grab? That looked different. Alright, and we get that backstab to bring it around. I don't know why the grab attack animation looked different to me for whatever reason. Every enemy you kill in Dark Souls becomes a friend. That's true. Baraka from Bionicle. Is that a real thing? I don't know anything about Bionicle, despite owning... Well, okay. I didn't own... Oh my god, help! My grandma owned a bunch of Bionicle toys that I used to play with as a child. But I never, like, engaged with anything Bionicle. Unfortunately, the Pisakas are not aggressive, so they won't be running at us. But I guess technically we do get to see more Pisakas. Takes you to McDonald's and makes you get a job. I wouldn't like Pisakas anymore if they did that. I mean, yeah, it was a lot of money. I would be upset at YouTube if it didn't last that long. Okay. I'm not gonna pull the lever an extra time this time. Probably. I will most likely remember to not pull the lever a second time. No promises because I have ADHD, but I will most likely remember this time. I wish these guys were more likely to use the flamberge instead of using their lightning constantly, because it's like so insanely dangerous and like unique because it basically instantly bleeds you if you don't have relatively high bleed resistance. But they use lightning very, very often, especially in Zen's Fortress with where they're positioned. Minecraft stream when? I don't know, but I do have a Minecraft video, 2 Minecraft videos actually, coming out this Sunday. Assuming I can finish the one for my second channel today, or by that time. There's going to be one on my main channel, which is one that I've been planning for like almost a year now. And then the one on my second channel, just because I wanted to start making Minecraft videos for a very specific purpose, which will be very obvious when you watch the videos. I pulled the lever. I just like it's true. I pulled it. Why won't they come down? I don't know. I probably won't ever do a Minecraft stream. channel. If I do, it'll be on my second channel, and I don't know how long that'll be because I would want it to be like at the point where people will actually watch it. Oh wait, I don't know. If YouTube allows for links, it might in the live chat section, but it most likely won't in the top chat. I don't remember if there's a link to my second channel in the description of my streams. If not, I should probably add that. But you can find the link in the description of all of my videos, at the end of all of my videos, and like the end screen. And also there's a link like on my channel page in the about section. So if you are not subscribed to my second channel and enjoy me talking about things other than Dark Souls, that's always there. I would be very appreciative if you check it out. Stream is frozen. It seems to be fine on my end. Mail yourself a drink. There's a joke there. I don't know what it is, but there's definitely a joke there. Okay. That is not on my end then, good. The aggressive correction. Dang, 2 hours and only at the Duke's Archives is unfortunate. Guess that just comes with using a weapon like this without particularly high damage. Milk mixed with beer out of a dirty glass. Yeah, that seems like a very, well, not male, but man. Very man thing to do. I agree, Krista. You should probably go to sleep soon. Sleeping is good for you. Unfortunately, I am 22 years old, so. What's the next challenge run? I don't remember. I mean, I've had several in recording for a while, but I haven't finished. Chances are next one is gonna be like all 3 blacksmith hammers or ghost blade. I haven't finished the ghost blade run yet because I've been stuck on Artorias because I've been extremely impatient, and then I'll like die once and just stop playing for a while. I'll go back to it and die once and stop playing for a while. But because I'm taking so many breaks, I'm like forgetting how to use the weapon. So we'll see. All Basaka on. That'll be the 10K live stream. Owie. I'm genuinely surprised that didn't one-shot me. Oh, the Seath stream is probably gonna, or stream, the Seath fight is probably gonna be really long. Didn't even think about that. Any Basakas running around. Can you do that? Is there like an enemy randomizer mod that can actually scale enemies for you? What do you mean how? You just chew into them. They're tasty. It looks like I am probably gonna get 2 clams. Hopefully only 1. Please help. Please help. Okay. You didn't help very much, Seath, but I appreciate the attempt, at least. No, CD-ROMs are specifically physical. It is a CD that cannot be rewritten. That's why it's ROM. It's read-only memory. Oh my goodness. I can't believe someone just made a Ligma joke in chat. Do you get... Oh my god. Do you get counter damage when Seath is breathing crystals? I'm actually not sure. Where did this come from? Why was there a random pile of crystals there? Ah. Why did crystals just spontaneously explode out of the ground? Excited for Plun Plun Plun. Okay, bit of chaos next. Gets you every time. Makes me cry every single time I play the game. Maybe I should get more endurance, but I want more damage. Damage will make it feel better to field poke. Turned out looking like Estes. What did you make? What drink did you mail? Your favorite spear? Out of curiosity, why is it your favorite spear? This is the only spear that I've used so far. I mean, I've used like Ornstein spear, but that doesn't really count. So what specifically makes the Partisan your favorite spear? Entirely with the parry sound. Like, I feel like you could do something with the parry sound from Dark Souls 2 as well, but unfortunately I'm not well versed enough in creating music out of random sounds to be able to do something like the moveset. Yeah, I mean, I really like the moveset so far. It's very nice to not have to deal with boss thigh gaps on a spear. Fighting Super Ornstein with the lightning spear from Sens was not my favorite experience. You realized your mistake as you said. Yeah, the moveset is very, very nice. I just kind of wish it did a little bit more damage. Similar to rum. I'm not like particularly knowledgeable on alcohol generally, but I've had rum and I enjoyed it. My goodness, my voice just disappeared for a second. The Street Fighter parry sound with the Mortal Kombat theme is an interesting combination. Um, I'm considering things. I'll probably upgrade endurance a little bit more, but I want to get my dexterity to 40 just so I can do actual damage when one-handing. But like, and Plin Plon with X noises. Yeah, I am. The only reason I haven't uploaded to my second channel in like a month or two or whatever it's been, because the main video I'm working on for that channel is um gonna be a very, very long one, like multiple hours long video. Um, and it's difficult to write, so it's gonna be a while. I do, however, have one going up this Sunday. So, or at least I want to finish it and have it go up by this Sunday. So there will be a video on my second channel very soon. I would not recommend drinking the bottle of Jack Daniels. I would, first of all, not recommend keeping it in your glove box. But if you are in a situation where you are not at home and your car is parked in the driveway, I would not recommend drinking it either. It's just Estes. I'm just restoring my health, officer. Okay. The range will hopefully make the worm. Any mooses? Any meese? I have 1 HP in a dream. The boss just attacked. I need a drink. Give me a second. Wow. Counter damage. Can you? What attacks? Okay, so one of the runs that I have in progress but haven't finished yet because I haven't been able to is one-shotting everything with the move swap glitch. And it's because I haven't been able to one-shot the Stray Demon and the Demon Fire Sage. They're like, that's like where I'm roadblocked in that run. Because the Demon Fire Sage is weak to slash damage. And the closest that I've got is the Life Hunt Scythe, which also bleeds it in one hit with move swap, but it doesn't quite kill it. And I'm thinking that if I use the pickaxe with move swap, I can get a counter damage thing with it, right? And one shot it that way. But I don't know what attacks you can actually get counter damage on the Fire Sage. And I really want to finish that run, but I don't know how. Or at least instability damage. Actually, instability damage with the Life Hunt Scythe would probably work. I would just need to hit it while it's jumping away. I do want to finish that run. That's one that I've had in the back burner for a while. 26 plus 6. In what context does 26 plus 6 equal 1? Considering the Demon's Great Axe actually has significantly higher AR than the Dragon Great Axe, Dragon King Great Axe. A little disappointed in what? I have no concept of what you're talking about. It's not like I'm talked to about Ireland frequently. Or anything Irish generally. When I think of Krista, I think of Krista, not Krista being Irish. Come on. Have a good night, Krista. Thank you for being here while you could. Hope you sleep well. And that you can explain things to me instead of just assuming that I would know anything about something that I have had no opportunity to learn about ever. Oh, I don't have to put the ring on because I have that part of my mod installed still because I forgot to uninstall it. I probably won't specifically uninstall it for a while. Why are you jumping away? Stop. Okay, the damage is definitely not bad. Okay, so why is the assumption that I would know anything about Irish history just because I'm with an Irish person? Why would I know that? But with ire. First of all, there is a very large difference between stupidity and ignorance. And conflating the two, even for a joke, is in very poor taste. And again, it's something that I've literally never had the opportunity to even hear of. So I don't know why it doesn't make sense that I don't know that. There, there are very, very few dumb people in the world generally. Ignorance is a much more common cause of what would generally be considered stupidity, including within bigotry. But there are also a lot of well-informed bigots who are actually stupid. That is one of the few instances where I think the term stupid is a good term to use. All right, have a good night. Thank you for joining while you could. Hope you sleep well. Wait, dexterity. Maybe I should level endurance next. I don't know. I think build poking will be good for Nito at least. I think that's more down to you than your accent, Krista. To be fair. Have a good night, Krista. What? I'm very confused. What does plover mean? I know okay, so first of all, define game history. I play a lot of retro games. I don't think that's knowing game history. I also watched a bunch of like random old game trivia videos. I don't think it has anything to do with you. I don't think we've ever talked about video game history in general. Plover is a bird. Plover is what you said. Okay. You know. Oh wait, wrong way. Not this way first. I would have a hard time coming up with wordplay like that on the fly. Game history is also like video game history specifically is also like 60 years uh ish, something like that, as opposed to the what, I have no idea actually when how long Irish history would stretch back. So like, you know, that's also a very false equivalence. Game history. Oh, game history. Okay. Oh my god. Too much wordplay. My brain is going to stop functioning. Yeah, and I don't even know most of American history. That's my point. I don't study history. I managed to actually time my dodge with that attack. I never do that. Normally I just get lucky or get hit by it. And 50% of those funny jokes are stolen from other platforms too. Okay. Just don't do Firestorm. Cool, thank you. It's 49% car crashes because of their algorithm. It's fine. I mean, I would say TikTok is generally a significantly better platform for a lot of reasons. Though to be fair, I was also, I don't know, I feel like Vine was too limited, which granted forced creativity in a lot of ways, but also I feel like limited the uses of the platform to almost exclusively comedy. So like, you know, again, TikTok I feel like is just generally a better platform because it's based on retention percentage and not retention time. Shorter videos are still also encouraged on TikTok. So it's like, it's not like it is significantly different from Vine in a lot of ways. It's just used for more things. Whole generation of humor. I don't think it's just Brazilian. I think that also applies um to the US at least. Say it, yeah. Say it. Oh wait. Maybe don't say it, not on YouTube. No, it's not that it's not even that TikTok allows everything. It just allows more important things on top of allowing comedy. And that mix of things, I feel like makes it a much more useful platform in most contexts. It's not good because it's not limited. It's still very limited, especially because of how differently the algorithm works in something like YouTube, right? Um, but it has, I think, a good amount of limitation rather than being overly limited like Vine. Pardon me. Theory of knowledge. Uh, my meme rolling? Oh, but I messed up the timing. It didn't even matter. I wish I knew meme roll timing and could set it up on the fly more consistently. I also get my mini Minutemen from YouTube, but there are a lot of creators that I almost exclusively watch on TikTok. From Kesha. Yeah, something like that. Also, that attack can definitely one-shot you. Oh wait, I gotta check the mask. It might be the mask of the father. It's the mask of the father. I think I have to use it. The mid-roll range, but now I have the mask of the father on, so it's better. Your brain is still working. I don't think that's a good reason to not go to sleep, is the thing. Staying up till you pass out is not the healthiest thing. I'm gonna I'm gonna mod in I'm gonna make a mod that just like changes the giant or the mask of the mother and the mask of the father. Like it just swaps their models. That's it. Or swaps their effects rather, so that you can have a giant mom. I can do a giant mom playthrough. Okay, if I can successfully traverse the Tomb of the Giants without falling off a cliff. No promises, but a girl can dream. That doesn't mean it's good for you, Krista. Mega MILF. Okay. That's so dumb. Of all the dumb things that I see on my channel and comments and like in chat and everything and on the Discord, that's up there. In a positive way, of course. Okay, so far so good. That's past the part that is easy to fall off the edge during. What are you, 16? I feel like you'd have to be 16 to think 21 is old. 16 or younger. Maybe 15. Actually, I feel like if you're under 18, 21 seems old. You know, the funny thing is, the couple times that I've drank in public, like at a restaurant or whatever, I've gotten alcohol at a restaurant 3 or 4 times, and I've only ever been ID'd once. Which I think is funny. Let's see if I can... I did not meme roll correctly. Fortunate. Are you implying that you have to look young to look cute? Krista? Because I think generally I would disagree with that. Dirty is a hell of a drug. That's true. Oop. The moment I stop shield poking is the moment that I actually get hit, of course. Hey, Nito, do something. Not to me. Ow. Kind of messed up that I got instantly toxic there. And I used my blooming purple moss earlier. Nito's rude. Okay. Shield poking is officially suboptimal. Especially when standing next to Nito blocks his attacks better than a shield. Toxic streamer. Even more wordplay. Ah, no. Okay. First try Nito. Guild poke build is overpowered, I guess. Why does it have to be a cracked eye orb? I'm just gonna level up dexterity. I don't care about endurance anymore. Real quick, I will be right back. I need to use the restroom. I am back. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna take gay as a compliment and say that's the most flattering one. Not because the others aren't more flattering, but because being gay as a compliment is less frequent. It's not a remake, is it? The Oblivion thing? I thought it was a remaster. I am Oblivion remake. I don't think that's true. I would hope it's not true. Have you seen the characters in that game? Jesus. I would prefer to be pretty than whatever the hell the things in that game are considered. Okay. I wish I knew meme roll timings. I could get down this so much faster. I'm actually gonna just do this so I can run faster. Thank you, Lilith. For both the compliment and the money. I do frequently call people gay as a compliment, but I am very infrequently called gay as a compliment. It's more like a fake insult, you know? You can like super chats? I've never noticed that before. Stream chat plugin where you have to make Dark Souls messages. That'd be incredible. I mean, what commands would I add? Christo, please do not. I will feel bad. You don't want me to feel bad, right? You can't do it. I will be extremely appreciative, but I will also feel Like I am getting more than I deserve. So, and that's not an invitation for you to say that I deserve more than I get. I don't care. And then it gays all over the place. I wouldn't make that a chat command. I would make that happen constantly. Poke. I have no idea if that was counter damage or not. That's counter damage. Whoa. Okay. Unfortunately, it's on the boss with the least health in the entire game. But God, I really wish this boss had more health. Like a genuinely reasonable amount of health. Makes you bake an apple pie. What if you're not in the stream? What if you're like not home and you're like errands or whatever? Does it just immediately hijack your brain into making you return home and bake an apple pie? Sanctuary Guardian and Night Rain would be so awesome, actually. I've never considered that. That would be a dream come true. If they don't put Sanctuary Guardian and Night Rain, I'm giving it a negative review on Steam. Yeah, Krista, you should sleep. You said you should sleep soon a while ago. It is not soon anymore. I mean, realistically, they will put Ornstein in Night Rain, considering he's been in the most games of any boss, I think. I'm pretty sure. And he's twice in Dark Souls 3, so like, you know. 5 Artoriases at once. Yeah. I wouldn't put it past them. Night Rain's coming out in 37 days-ish, I think. I'm very excited. 36? 37? Krista, baking is not sleep. Smo with a comically undersized hammer. That would be... I think that would be better than a comically oversized hammer, actually. Alright, let's see how I fare against Artorias. Either this will go really well, and I'll be Artorias first try, no problem. Or I will accidentally pay too much attention to chat and die. But... Okay, or I'll get greedy. That is also a very possible occurrence. Hopefully. Okay, only 3 hits for a stagger. That's not bad. Or out of the buff, anyway. Just need to not get greedy, I think. Far be it from me. Hey, an Estus. Oh, that wasn't a buff. That was a very greedy attack. Up! As was that. No! Okay, that was scary. My whole life flashed before my eyes. I should definitely heal. Is musket girl a bit? Or is that like misspelling? And also, what does the bit mean if it is a bit? Or is it just like a thing that I am unaware? Side joke, I see. There we go, first try. Vivid. There's a TikTok series called Baking While Baked, and it's just a guy baking stuff while high. That's the whole thing. Um, Pretty funny. He's a funny guy. Oops. I'm gonna level up my dexterity a little bit more. Whatever language the chosen undead happens to speak, I suppose. Considering there are language options. Canonically, every character in Lore Giant is a hyper polyglot. That was long. What? Okay. The moment I look away from my screen to read chat. A hyper polyglot is someone who speaks a bunch of languages. Anyway, I think Manus with a sticky hand would be funny. You know, come to think of it, I'm kind of surprised that Another Crab's Treasure didn't have a boss with a sticky hand as a weapon. That's such an Another Crab's Treasure thing to do. That one guy. What one guy? There are a lot of one guys. We're skipping a guy? If that's the actual name of a video, that is unfortunate that that person exists. Is there a joke like that in Another Crab's Treasure? I know that Another Crab's Treasure is very, very anti-capitalist, and is incredibly based. So it wouldn't surprise me if there was a joke about that, but it also wouldn't surprise me at all if there wasn't. Hmm. I don't know. I kind of want to do the content update without a shell, like do that thing, but um, I don't know. Remember me an item description, huh? I don't know. I don't remember that at all. That's a very trans girl thing to say. Another Crab's Treasure is really fun. I think it's a good game. Let's see if I can successfully run past the enemies. Ah. Yeah, the really happy tech. I know which emoji you're talking about, but I don't know how to describe it. The one that looks like Kirby. A combo from any Souls game. I think they just, well, no, I was gonna say it would be stupid if they just ripped Godskin Duo, but they're probably gonna do that anyway. Yeah, I know which emoji you're talking about. I've just never used it, so I don't know if it like I don't know how TikTok uses emojis if they have names or whatever. The smirking one with the spiky hair, I assume. Yeah, let's see if I can first try Manus too. Those two are dating. Hmm, maybe. I like to. Hmm, maybe. It's like that one Dark Souls mod. I don't remember what that was. What that mod was, but there was a mod where, um, regardless of which Ornstein and Smo, like which one of them you killed first, you would still have to fight all of them and all the phases. So just that, which was a really annoying boss because Super Ornstein and Super Smo are very much not meant to be fought together. There are a lot of mods that like increase difficulty where you just fight multiple enemies at the same time that are not meant to be fought together, and it's just not fun. Um, like there's one that just adds Batwing demons to the Iron Golem arena. It's just not not fun. I think that's a Scorched Contract or something. I don't remember. I don't know. I remember watching Lobos play at 400 damage. Leo Ring. I assume the jump attack does piercing damage, right? It would appear so. Leo Ring is really saving this fight. Oh, it's weird that the rolling attack does piercing damage, but the R2 doesn't, despite them both being swings. That's very strange. I feel like most bosses at the like most two bosses at the same time would be pretty unfun. To be fair, Anos, the Hands of Fate. That's how pretty big hands. As a follow up, no, I almost did manage to hit this, but then I got greedy. Do something. Do something I can punish. Not that. Ah. Okay, and then I just was bad at timing. A particularly stabby swing. True. That is so much damage. I need to use thrusting weapons more, I think. Alright, shockingly easy. Oh, I need to wake up Dusk. Hold on. I was kind of hoping a shield poke build would be more viable, to be honest, but Manus's favorite video game could be anything, really. I think it's Iggy's Wrecking Balls for the Nintendo 64. I feel like a lot of spells, I feel like a lot of weapons generally in Elden Ring are relatively disappointing in similar ways. Any game with a power glove, of course. I'm glad that both of our choices were games that involved balls of some sort. You know, I commented on a Blue Sky post about obscure Nintendo 64 games, and I said Chameleon Twist, which isn't like super obscure, but it's like, you know, more obscure than like Mischief Makers or whatever. Um, And then I replied to my own post and said that I should have said Eggy's Wrecking Balls because it would have been funnier. And someone replied my first one about Chameleon Twist and said Mischief Makers. And the original poster replied to them saying that that's not obscure around or like in the community that follows the original poster. And I thought they were replying to me and saying that Iggy's Wrecking Balls wasn't obscure, and I was baffled. Stream is over, almost over. That's true. What does their Oblivion remaster change? Does it change any game mechanics or anything, or is it just like a visual overhaul? Or does it add anything? I've played a little bit of the original Oblivion, like a couple hours, and that's all my experience. Chameleon Twist, a fun move to use in the bedroom. Yeah, just the graphics, that wouldn't be surprising, admittedly. Yeah, the dialogue. I'm going to replace the Leo ring with the Hornet ring just because I think it'll be more useful for this fight. Oh, that is not much damage. Not terrible like this, but 5 riposts isn't the best. They reddited the dialogue. They made everyone snarky and annoying. Oh, I thought I pressed the button, but then it didn't, and I looked away because I thought I had just beaten the game. Alright, opinions on the weapon. It's alright. The moveset is really, really nice to have. I think it's a very, very useful and versatile moveset, but that's kind of ruined by its relatively disappointing damage. If I had leveled exclusively for like the quality scaling, it probably would have been a little bit better. But even then, you know, I'm at 39 dexterity. I feel like that's not that big of a difference. It's fine. But I haven't used other spears, so I don't know if it's the best one. Yeah, now you can sleep, Krista. That's good for you, sleeping. Like one of the weapons in Dark Souls, it's true. Alright, giant mom and giant dad will get a divorce. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I love you all, and I don't know how to end this.